Hello, everyone. How you doing? Happy Lunar New Year of the Wood Snake. I've already been cracking up with my eyes watering because that's what I do with my dear, wonderful guest, Shannon Murray of Lunar Ladies. So
Hi,
happy to have
Irma.
you back on. Hi. It's been a while, y'all. It's been a while. How's everybody doing? We're really happy to be here with you today. Share some information, some great information about this powerful, powerful year ahead that we've got 2025, again, year of the wood snake. Um, Dragon and snake people. It's very interesting because I was born in the year of the dragon. I was just telling Shannon, I'm kind of on the cusp of both. So, and the dragon and the snake are pals. They're both kind of magical beings that like to kind of hang out together. So, if you have dragon energy or snake energy, this is going to be your time. But it's also we'll tell you a little bit about how it's going to be a good time for everybody if you want to utilize these really powerful energies that we've got. So we've got an interesting mix of a nine, which is a completion energy, 2025 being a nine. And, when you think about classic, like the shedding your skin, the snake shedding its skin. And I wrote a little post for those of you guys that follow me at Facebook and Instagram. And I said, don't be afraid to shed some outdated skins and turn some mere mortals into stone.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So, yeah, y'all, snake year. And another thing I was thinking about laughing is a long time ago, when I first started sharing the keepers material, we all know I met with a wee bit of resistance with the public, just a little bit. And yeah, and it usually was from men. Ooh, sorry. Women in her power, how dare you. I remember somebody called me a snake guru, and I still laugh about
Oh
this.
my God, they said that. That's funny.
And I went, hey, thanks for seeing me.
Right.
So, and I mean, I don't, I've never, assigned myself to being a guru, but the word guru just means somebody that helps guide other people to the light, and we're walking each other home. So, sure, I'll take that. But I'm like, oh, snake, you're feeling my snake energy, because I did have a really powerful initiation in my late 20s when I had a Kundalini experience where I became, pretty introduced to that kind of energy. So it's really interesting now, being in my crone energy. Just had my 60th birthday, January 11th. Yay. So it feels like a real kind of coming home to that. And I feel like I've been writing about this already. So I feel like women, priestesses especially, and of course men too, that have a healthy relationship with their inner priestess and their feminine side, their yin energy. But it's interesting when you look at dragon and snake energy, because dragon is more yang, and yin energy, snake energy, is more yin, right? So I shared this. There's an interesting parable, and Paramahansa Yogananda used to share it. He was talking about the story about how there was a snake in the village, and it was attacking people and hurting them. And
Mm.
the wise man said, came to him and said, hey, you got to quit doing that. So then the snake became docile, and people started throwing rocks at the snake and hurting the snake, right? And then the wise man came back again, and he goes, look, they're hurting me. And he goes, well, I never said you couldn't hiss, is the story.
Oh,
It's a great parable, right?
yeah.
So I feel like when I tuned into the energy of that, snakes, of course, really can hurt people. They have venom, they have poison, they can bite you, they can even kill you.
Yeah, they can
But at
squeeze
this,
you
but at the
too.
same, what was that?
They can squeeze you like
Yeah,
constrict.
yeah. And I mean, we have them out here in the desert, but it's really interesting. A lot of times they see you and they just kind of slither away. They don't want to mess with you. So I'm really getting that this is really a choosing your battles kind of energy. And when you have a nine, I think there's going to be some things that are going to cycle back up, and you're just like, oh, it's that thing again. And how am I going to choose to respond to that? This has been coming up with some people. I unfortunately, we know some people that lost some things, their homes in the LA fire. Bless them. You're in our work every day. And, we were talking about how things from the past, how things can be moved out of our life. We can even have old traumas from the past be coming up, right? In a 9 year. It's really going to be about not looking at it as a punishment, but as a teaching. What is the teaching in this, right? That's always the question. Like one of our great teachers, Lama Yeshe, who's passed now, but the great Lama Yeshe used to say, what is happening here? We ask ourselves, what is it that is happening here? And I think that's a really good question, because once you get out of the shock and the trauma and the anger and all of those things are valid, then you just kind of sit with, what does this mean for me? So I feel like that's going to be powerful medicine. And I mean, to start a year off the way that this year has started, it's like, hello, you guys awake yet? I mean, like, have a big talk about your ice bucket challenge or whatever. Oh my God. Wow. So there's a little bit of, like, shock and trauma to start this year, but I really just don't think that that means that this is going to be an awful year or we're doomed or anything like that. I think that that means that we got to be on our toes, and there's a lot of great energy, and there's a lot, as always, there's a lot of great wisdom and teachings available to us. And we know that this time of the planet is so exciting because we have so many wonderful guardians, and we've got the elementals, we have the masters, we have healing angels, we have your own individual teams, whoever's watching this video. So that's always the recurring message, is to lean into your teams, ask for help. You're not alone. You're never alone. If you want to rewatch one of our videos and our goofiness makes you laugh, then do that. So I wanted to share just a little bit about that. So the key being, it's a very transformative year. Remember that you don't have to go to every fight that you're invited to, or every conflict you're invited to. It's really going to be about economy of energy. And I even got this interesting thing about regulating your temperature, because snakes, about the cold-bloodedness. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Very. And so there was that. And the other really key thing too is that, we know that there are actual medicines that are made from snake venom. There's pain medication. I think it was started first in Europe, but they have actual, there's medicines that are extracted from venom, which really is alchemical when you think about it. And like, this is a principle of homeopathic medicine, where you get the irritant, the thing that's bothering you, and you expose yourself to it. That's very deep. That's very deep.
That's it. Because as you share that, Irma, I was thinking about the element of the year, the snake, the wood. According to Chinese medicine, it represents the liver, gallbladder, meridian, which is what is irritating you.
That's right. And anger. It's anger. That's right.
So that would be fuel for change.
That's so beautiful. That's so great. And like that thing about gall, like, oh, it really galls me, right?
Yeah,
like your gallbladder.
Exactly.
Yeah. And your liver. And that's the thing. It's really kind of about sacred rage, using this energy in a righteous, creative way. Right. I mean, let's face it, I always say, like the great Bill Hicks used to say, it's all, what is it? Of course I'm outraged. Where do I send my letter? I mean,
well, that coincides with the yin energy of the snake, is take it inward and create with it.
I know, isn't that beautiful? And again, not just it's more like right? It's responding over reacting. This is a mastery type of energy, right? This is like, and again, we're at a 9. I love that this is a 9 snake year. It's chef's kiss. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really kind of perfect, especially when you get the wisdom of the year, the dragon handing it off.
It's amazing. It's amazing, because really, and when you think about a 9, I went, of course, the Beatles have a whole song about number 9, and I'm like, yeah, I think there was some acid was probably involved, but
we need a cosmic
number 9. I think, but 9 is a magical spiritual number. It is a completion number. It's the end of the cycle before you start a brand new 1 year. So what does that mean? Are there going to be some sad moments? Sure. Are there going to be some things from the past, some memories maybe that hurt and don't feel good? Yeah, that's part of it. But I think at the same time, it's really a great opportunity to see how far we've come and in how much we've evolved as individuals, and human beings on this planet. I think, my gosh, if you're still here,
yeah, you made it.
Cheers.
I mean, that's an accomplishment.
You're still
Congratulations.
Here. I know, right? You get on the champagne, but we're not having our champagne right now. But there's room on the champagne planet for everybody.
Everybody's invited to the champagne.
Everybody's invited to the champagne planet. So that being said, I'm going to pass it over to my amazing wise woman friend. We were talking about a few things that we thought would be the most important to share with y'all we'll be meeting again. We always do this. We meet in the beginning of the, well, we did. Now we're back on it again. We meet in the beginning of the year, which is around my birthday, after my birthday. And then we'll meet again in Cancer season, which is my beloved friend's birthday. We got the cool bookends because I'm a Capricorn, she's a Cancer. So we've got that thing going. So we'll meet with y'all again and give you a little update on what we've got going forward, because it's too much a year. We'd be here for 4 hours, and we've all got things to do. So we're going to do a little brief look at what we're looking at, and then we'll meet again in summer. So take it away, friend. What can you share with us? Thanks for being here again.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here and be with Irma on the Cosmic Couch and all of the Bright Star Irma K community. I love you all. I wanted to segue. I love the point that you made, like when these difficult things come up in a 9-year, how those will be such juicy gifts for you, because in the wood snake year, it's about transformation, but shedding the skin, and wood wants to grow. So it's going to grow fast like bamboo, so.
That's a beautiful point. Thank you.
Isn't that cool?
That's cool.
Take those things that may not feel the best, or they're just old stuff, or why is this happening to me again, and use that as like, because you're evolving your consciousness and you're expanding so you need new skin. So let it go. Do whatever tools that you can utilize that moment of awareness and use that as fuel for change.
Beautiful. Great. I love it. I want to interject really quick right here. One other thing here, we're going to talk a little bit more about community in a minute, but I do want to say that one way to keep the vibes up, Buttercups, is I have returned to the monthly soul meeting gatherings. We've got another one on February 11th. We're going to be meeting every month. I basically listen to guidance. Sometimes they're going to be around full moons or new moons, or based on whatever else is going on. The Snake Kingdom today reminded me that we're going to get together for Wesak full moon on May 12th, which is going to be really powerful. And the Buddha had a very special relationship with the Nagas, with the serpents. And that's another thing. People don't normally think about snakes as being protective. They normally think about them as being scary and being predator-like, but they don't think about utilizing them. I have this beautiful picture of the Buddha sitting in meditation with the cobra, protecting him from the elements. It's so beautiful, right? So the Snake Kingdom really is here. There's a protective element to them too, right? So I thought that was really cool, because I'd forgotten about that, and they reminded me of that. So we're going to get together. I know. So we saw Buddha's birthday. It's also in Pleiadian lineup in May. So y'all mark your calendars for that. That's going to be a great one. That's on a Monday. We'll talk more about how to get all this information. But anyway, back to you. Back to my friend.
Thank you, Irma. Also, one other element to the snake year is, I have this in my notes from traditional Chinese medicine, but summertime, which is the fire time, is the most powerful for snake, because they're transforming, so they need a lot of fuel, so fire. So I'm happy we're going to meet again in summertime to help align everyone with the power of fire for change. So that was just something else I saw in my notes. I'm like, make sure you say that.
I have to make a note and go, her notes, you guys. Like I said, every time I have a conversation with her, I feel like I want to sneak put my little iPhone on record, because of the amazing wisdom that comes out of this woman's mouth. And every now and then we'll be talking, I'll be like, write that down.
I know, that's always funny when we're just chatting. I'm like, that reminds me of this. Write it down. And I always like, okay, if I'm gonna have a conversation with Irma, I'm gonna have a piece of paper and a pen.
We both have a piece of paper and pen, because it's like, of course, we're on the champagne planet and giggly, and people think we're high all the time, and we're not. We're just high on. We're just high on our champagne vibes and our wonderful chemistry. But yeah, it's amazing the stuff that comes through. But see, that's summer. I'm love that.
No, isn't that cool?
Think about that. Regulate your temperature. See, she does it all the time.
Boom.
Regulate your temperature. Cold blood, hot blood.
Yes, exactly. And that will help you grow with grace rather than struggling to get out of the old skin. Let's just all this, it had to be the Incredible Hulk to break through. It's like, no, let's just go, wow, things are changing. Wow, what else?
Right, right. Just evolving, just rolling with it, which is a very yin thing, right? You're just letting kind of life go in and out.
Yeah, let
It's
yourself
very
fall.
Buddhist. It's very mindfulness. It's very
Yeah, do
Buddhist.
the sinewy dance.
That's right. That's right. You're not trying to go hold on to things, or
Yeah,
that's the thing too. If we've learned
that's
anything in the last few years, it's like, whoa, if you're trying to hold tightly to things, you're gonna have a rough go, because a
yeah.
lot is shifting and moving.
This is
You
Kundalini
know,
energy.
oh yeah.
Can't
And I
stop
mean,
it.
yeah, it's a lot. Go ahead, go on.
Yeah.
So what else were we talking about
Uh,
in our treasure trove of notes?
well, I wanted to just identify, and the 2025 is a preview year because things are really going to be set in motion in 2026, meaning that all the outer planets are changing signs. Like, what? That's a lot of change.
It
So we
is.
need a year of the snake before this to get us
Yeah.
ready to know how to shed our skin on a daily basis if need be, right?
Right. Right.
So the outer planets are rule the collective. So it won't be just happening to you. Know that if you're going through something, think, well, who else could be going through this? Is it a community, a culture, a group, a age range, a Gen X, which we'll be talking about too. But so you're getting we're all going to take a test, right? We're all going to pass. Why? Because we're getting the answers. How do we get the answers to the test, teacher? Well, I'm going to hand them out to you. And it's called 2025. 2025 has all the answers because planets are going to change signs, and then they're going to retrograde back. So they're going to give you a preview. This is what's coming. Take note. So
See how she is? See what I mean?
take good notes, students. I am giving you all the answers to all these new cycles. And when
Beautiful.
yes, right. When they all change signs, to me, I'm like, that's indicating a great reset.
Yes.
Right. So a great reset is like a global reset or like
Right.
a humanitarian reset. And then what do we have helping us out? But Pluto in Aquarius.
Right.
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 Change, transformation in what? Aquarius, the humanity, the groups, the social circles, the friendships, the ideologies, like, and you have to liberate your mind, Aquarius, to know who are your people.
Right.
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 So you focus on your individual freedom and liberation, and then you look around and go, well, who else likes what I like? And then you find your flock of birds that are your same feathers. Right? And then it's fun after that. Like when you find your soul tribe, you're not really going to be sad because you're with like your pot. You're like, hey, we all are similar. We like similar things. We talk similar. We have the same values. So what are you going to do when you get together with a group like that? You're going to make magic.
You're going to create. You're going to create magic. Create. That's right. That's right.
Because what's the opposite of Aquarius?
Leo.
Leo. What does Leo do?
Play, create, dance in the sun, have a great time.
Exactly.
Get your little kid out. Take your little kid out on its big wheel.
Right, exactly. And what rules Leo? The sun. Right. What everybody loves, sunshine.
Right.
For the most part, or summertime, or the things that the sun represents.
And that's why I always do something. Well, I don't think I did last year, but for a lot of years I've done something for Lionsgate for the 8/8. Because that's when our Syrian brothers and sisters are closer, our galactic friends. The lion beings are closer to Earth, and it's such a powerful time. It's so creative.
Well, I think we better do something together because that's the power time for the year of the snake. Is that summer? When is it the hottest?
Is August probably.
Right. The Lionsgate, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, that might be like a quiz answer to the test.
Right.
Lionsgate, fire time, snake, powerful. Okay. How about I be really happy and be doing things with other people?
I am going to do an event for sure. Good. So you got to come for that. The other thing I got too, if I could just interject really quick, is another thing that was enlightening for me that I learned from our precious teacher, Kim Marie from Evolutionary Astrology. Yes. Bless her. Amazing teacher. Really, really great. I've been Jupiter in the 7th. I've been very blessed with teachers this life.
That's
Very
nice.
blessed with great teachers. The thing about the 11th, about Uranus, that a lot of people don't know is that it is connected to trauma. It's personal trauma and collective trauma. So unfortunately, with all this Uranus and Taurus, we've got fires, we have earthquakes, we have
Yeah, shocks.
multiple hurricanes. You guys know me, I'm a weather worker. That's
Yeah,
another little hat that I wear. So we've been super busy with that, right? That's a lot. So
yeah,
it's really going forward. It's going to, talking about this beautiful creativity that Shannon's talking about with your soul tribe, is that you're really going to have to keep yourself clear. How do we keep ourselves clear? We respond to personal and collective trauma. We have wonderful tools. I'm an IET practitioner. I'm an energy worker. There's a lot of great energy workers out there and other spiritual workers, whether they be, in the shamanic field or whatever aspect they have. But it's going to be really important. Again, this is part of our healing and keeping ourselves, shedding that might be some of this
yes,
gunk that we have to shed, holding
yeah.
on to old trauma, holding on to old programming or patterning that doesn't suit you. I don't you think that these retrograde, I think this is great, don't you think, Shannon? Because when we've got the dance of these retrograde planets,
Yeah,
this might be a really good time for people to look a little more inward and look at that. Right.
definitely. And I think that that is by design for the universal intelligence
I do too. I do
to
too.
handle these big reset changes. And you reminded me of what Mr. Rogers always told us: in times of trouble, look for the helpers.
Oh, love him. Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
that's how we can, when we're clear and we do our inner work and we find that creative place of joy, and then we start looking around at who else is like me, and then we gather together. You will become those helpers in times of trouble where people will gather and look towards, and then you could be there on the ready saying, I knew this was coming, I prepared. And you'll have success in whatever way you want to express that in the world, whether it's you're an activist through a prayer or Reiki or whether working online, or you actually show up at places that because you can, it doesn't matter. Or you create something beautiful in the world that lifts people's spirits. Whatever.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. What are your thoughts? I know we could talk all day, but I just I want to keep everybody here all day. But this is what one thing I wanted your thoughts on. I think
Yeah.
it's really interesting. North Node in Pisces, South
Yeah.
Node in Virgo. And we know that, and I've written quite a bit about this for anybody that follows my work or is at my Patreon, that the shadow of both of those energies is to be a doormat and to have crappy boundaries and all of that, and energy leaks, all of that. And again, this is a time where we cannot afford to have energy leaks.
You're
This is a
right.
time when we really need to have our energy together, right? So I
Yeah.
think, don't you think it's interesting, because Aquarius is more of like a higher view, it's very kind of a galactic energy, right? Because on it
Yeah.
in its highest octave. What are your thoughts about those, about kind of Pisces and Aquarius, kind of traveling together, right? Because Pisces is very spiritual, but it does have that side where it's like, oh, I don't have any energy because I took in 17 stray cats or whatever. You
Yes,
know what I
that's
mean? So
funny.
I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on how those energies can kind of coexist together. Do you have some thoughts on that?
I do. I do. What a great question, because with Pisces, the shadow can be like, okay, you don't have any boundaries. And so Pisces, when Pisces have any boundaries, has the 17 cats, overwhelmed, the house is a mess, doesn't know what to do.
Right.
Wanting
Leaking
to help
money,
the
leaking
cats,
energy, leaking what,
taking
right.
energy, right? It's too much.
Too
So then
much.
you look to Virgo and you say, okay, Virgo says healthy habits on a daily basis. Keep it simple so you do it every day. And you refine and you see, what is it I really need? What's priority? Find your big rock. Don't focus on all the little pebbles and try to organize them. That's impossible. Find a big rock because it's going to give shape.
Right,
And
right.
what's your big rock for the day as far as your body, your mind, your emotions, and your spirit? What's the big
See, genius, amazing.
rock? You'll be, all you have to do is find one big rock and focus on that. Don't worry about the rest. That's what that Mercury energy of Virgo just says. Okay, I want it really, really, really simple. And then what happens with that is Pisces starts to get a boundary. And it's not only a little boundary, it's a big ass boundary because she's a big rock, right?
Right.
Now Pisces like, oh, I could channel all this beautiful watery compassion because I actually have like a structure to it.
When you were talking, I saw a river with a big rock in it. And it was just kind of going around it.
Going around
wow,
it, making beautiful swirls. And when water hits a rock in a river and it splashes, you get a nice musical tone.
Right.
So
right.
you not only make beauty and it builds energy. If it hits something solid, it's gonna make more energy in the system because it has to go around it. So it needs more energy to keep going towards those.
So everybody's advice for the next 18 months is to find your big rock.
Find your big rock, but it has to be your daily big, or you can find a big rock on a daily basis.
On a daily basis.
Get bored.
This is amazing. This is so amazing. Thank you. I'm so glad I asked.
I'm glad you asked. Well,
I
really want to point out there's a specific generation I have in mind, and it happens to be our generation.
It's us. Yeah, that's handy. That's handy. I love it. High five.
Right?
Yeah.
We were all born with Pluto-Uranus conjunction in Virgo.
Virgo.
Right, we're that generation.
And I have Mars there too. I've got
you have Mars there. So
yeah.
And especially if you got personal planets in Pisces and Virgo.
Right.
The next 18 months, which is part of 2025, taking the test, and we're gonna all pass with gold stars, because 2026, we're like, we know what's going on. You're gonna get the South Node crossing through that.
Right.
And the South Node's job is to clean up the old junk. What's the snake doing? I want to grow.
Right.
I have to let go.
Getting that off, shedding that skin, man. Shedding that skin, baby. Getting that off. Yeah.
That's right. Right. So South Node of Virgo says, well, I came with rubber yellow gloves on and toothbrushes in the corner. Get out of my way.
I know. We're on it. We're on it.
We're on it. We're so on it. And so the Gen Xers.
I know we're like amateurs, whatever.
You're like, you call that clean? I don't think so. Let me wash those dishes again.
And it's like my mom, like after the party, when you have the cleaning crew, after the party, my mom would walk in and go to the one beer top that we did.
Right. And she's like, the house is a mess.
And she's like, you think this is clean, really?
Right, like white gloves. Yeah, so the Gen Xers are going to be called into action, into service, because they have Pluto, the group soul agreement. We all came in together on this wave. Why? Why did all these souls choose to come to be born at the same time?
Right.
And then we've got Uranus. Ooh, we're gonna like blow something up. We're gonna change it, or like go shock and awe, right? Right. Because that's why the Gen Xers are. I love all the memes because they say, you know, nothing bothers us because we're the latchkey kids. We took care of ourselves. We drank out of the hose.
We were drinking out of the hose. I know. We were like, I love that one meme that said like, you know, your mom thought you were at your friend's house, but you were exploring a haunted house.
Yeah.
You drove your bike 7 miles. I did all these things, by the way.
Things. We were like in other portals and other dimensions.
We were like playing with my friend's big sister's Ouija board, smoking cigarettes.
Right, to play with Ouija boards, right? Yeah, I mean, name it, we've done it.
We did it. I know, right?
Age 9, you know, it wasn't even like, oh, we're doing it in the 40s. No, we did it in our pre-teens.
We were like really young. And then if you're, you know, a Capricorn like me, where you're like, you know, an adult when you're like 5 years old.
Yeah.
So I know now, you know what, on another note, it's really fun being this age because now I feel like I finally get to be a kid. So
but it's so funny. Yeah, the Gen Xers are like born old, and then now at you know, at a certain time in life, you get to be a kid again.
You get to be a kid again. Well, this is super useful. Another thing I want to ask you about, not now, maybe in our next thing, is I'm really fascinated because just this is a little preview, like Shannon was talking about the shift, that we are going to have Saturn going into Aries. Thank God. Second Saturn return, do not recommend. 0 stars. Anyway. So there's that.
That's another good one.
That's a good one. Oh, I also said me no likey about Mars in Cancer retrograde, and she was cracking up about that. That's another little side point. Don't try to be the star of the show when Mars is in Cancer retrograde. Just a little advice from me to you.
Should we show them what Mars in Cancer really looks like?
Show.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're trying to be seen with like this in front of you. You're like, why can't they see me?
Look, I'm gonna make my eyes water again. We like laughed over this for like 10 minutes this morning. Oh my god, that's too good not to share. That's too good not to share. So I have all these posts that are like, it would be good if people learned about Mars cycles, because Mars in Cancer, you are not going to be like the, the big shining star on the stage. But when Mars moves into Leo, pretty soon, right, then it's more like, I'm here. So we're talking about how this, on another note, this year, of course, it's starting out kind of slow and quiet energetically. It's also winter. Again, animals hibernate in the winter. We're these weird creatures that are like, go, go, go. And it's like, if you're pushing against that, you know what I mean? That basically the universal intelligence is like, it's winter. Maybe you could just curl up and have a cup of tea and chill and not have to be like a huge rock star 24/7. Because let the year kind of, unfold, right? Let the energy of the year unfold is what we're saying. I'm still laughing about this though.
Yeah, you just put a retrograde on top of that, where it's like even more like hidden. And
it's more inward when it's a retrograde. I hope people find this as funny as we do.
I thought it was hilarious.
It's pretty funny. So we were talking about, we're going to wrap it up here in a minute, but you had some wonderful kind of words of hope, I think, about Pluto in Aquarius, right? About, let's share that. That was good.
Okay, so Pluto in Aquarius, again, great reset. You're not meant to, Aquarius reminds us, yes, it's about individual freedom and be liberated, but that's only part one. Part two is you do this in a group, because it takes a group vibration, which happens when people of the same heart and mind, come together to create a big wave of energy, and you can't generate that type of energy on your own. It's strength in numbers.
Right.
So we might have things happening in our world that we're like, that's not right. That's not fair. That's terrible. That's vile. That's evil. What? But Pluto in Aquarius says, guys, remember, the power is in the people, is in the group. If you see something and you have a whole group of people that see it too, and you're like, we don't likey, right? We don't likey, right? We don't likey. And then you go, okay, like you said, what's happening here? How can we, we've done reacting. How can we respond? How can we be the helpers in times of trouble? What can we do as a group effort, which is way more powerful than an individual trying to throw water on, a glass of water on the fire, but thousands of people with a glass of water throwing it on a fire, it's going to put it out.
That's right. That's a good analogy. That's really great. Thank you. Another thing I got too is people have heard me talk about the wise GB, giggling Buddha, or Merle.
Our fearless leader.
Yeah. And him being a double Pisces, he didn't really put his foot down that much. He was one of these talk softly and carry big stick kind of people, right? A very Gandalf kind of energy. But when something wasn't right, I remember there was a few things that happened, and I've shared this with a few people, and he just said, oh, that cannot be. That can't be. Shannon's heard this. And you know what? It ceased to exist in that moment, or very shortly thereafter. It didn't continue anymore. He didn't yell at anybody, didn't raise his voice, didn't really even do a whole heck of a lot. Think about it. Pisces, right? Very much in elevated Pisces, very much in that Yoda. His nickname was Yoda. Gandalf, Yoda kind of energy. So it basically, his consciousness was in a place where he could go, I'm going to put my consciousness on that and decide that that's not all right. And that needs to be changed. And that needs to be transformed. Right. So that, or Gandalf, going, you shall not pass.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I love that scene.
Right. So when you get, this is what I'm thinking, when you get the like-minded individuals that say, this cannot be,
yeah,
and really mean it and come from the heart, that's how we're going to get it done.
Exactly.
That,
Yes.
and yet this
And it's
doesn't mean
non-violent.
it's nonviolent, and it doesn't mean that, everyone has to send in emails. It doesn't mean everybody has to be in the street protesting. This is another thing we were talking about, and I wrote about this recently, is that our job in this time is to decide how we're going to manifest. Some people, their activism is very quiet, and other people, their activism is louder, and they're the ones that are going to DC. They're the ones that are sending all the emails and making all the phone calls, and we need all of it.
Yes.
We need every single bit of it. But what we don't need is infighting and people telling other people how they need to manifest. We need people on the same team, being of one mind and of one heart. And I feel like that's what's being created right now. Right.
Yes, especially as energy workers that this community are all about. When that Aquarius crown chakra, its partner in the universe, Leo, the heart chakra. So if the heart and the crown are working together simultaneously, like when you do this.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that.
Right? It's really hard. Right? So it's like that, but we're all doing it together. We're laughing and we're giggling and we're focusing on what is important to us, which is what do we value, not what do we hate, and that we have to really come to the conclusion that where our focus is, our energy is, and where our energy is, our focus is. So like you just said, come together and say, we're all in agreement that this shall not be, right? Yes.
Right.
Great.
Right.
Okay. Let's just hold that feeling together from the heart, from the higher self, the crown, and unite those powers. And it's like a wave of something goes out and changes reality.
That's so beautiful. And you know what I got? Midway between this and this is your upper heart chakra, which is right. What the keepers call the wisdom eye. There's a lot, and that's where your thymus is. Yeah, they call it the wisdom eye. There's a lot going on there. So I love that. You always have the greatest little analogies, right? Another thing I got
it's
too.
my monkey.
It's so cute. It's so cute. I love it. I was thinking too that a way to balance, this just came through, a way to balance the Uranian energies, which can be tough, right? Because they just wipe shit out. I mean, it's very much like, the rattly part of the roller coaster. So I was thinking about Venus, since we've got yin, right? We've got this yin energy, and like to really we need to track where Venus is and what Venus is doing this whole year. I think there's a key to that. What do you think about that?
Yes, Irma, brilliant, because we started this year off with that Mars retrograde, which was likey, right? Whoa. But Venus looks over at Mars and says, "Oh, honey, you'll be okay. Hold my champagne. I'm gonna go retrograde." But I'm going to retrograde from Aries, who am I, to Pisces. Stella Maris, I'm the exalted divine queen mother of the universe.
That's right. Venus and Pisces is gorgeous energy. It's so beautiful. Yeah, it's really good.
So just know that Mars is taking a nice long winter's nap.
Right.
And he's so glad.
That it deserves, that it absolutely deserves.
Well
deserved. Yeah.
Young buck,
Yeah.
Go back to the Bodhi tree and rest.
Yes.
And then Venus will be like, I'm going to fire things up so that you know who you really are like you're a soul having a human experience. You are not just a human that's limited and finite. You're infinite and expansive.
Right.
You're fire.
Right.
A holy fire.
Yes.
And then we're going to go into the eternal bliss of Pisces and go, my holy fire is actually unconditional love and light. Like, whoa, but it's not like we think, I'm with love, unconditional love and light. They think it's so like airy fairy and light. Not when you add holy fire to it.
No, I know. Well, that's what we could have a whole conversation about this nonsense with the bypassing and how, we've done enough of that. And I mean, yes, love and light, of course, but I mean, if you've got to balance it with some
holy fire.
That's right. You've got it. I mean, it's hard here. You can't just like put kitties and butterflies on everything. I mean, as much as I'd like to do that, that's just not how it works. I mean, the other thing I got too is thinking about the next 18 months, tracking the planets, is we're going to need to look at right where Virgo and Pisces are, because if it's in Virgo, it will be opposed to the North Node. If it's in Pisces, it will be conjunct the North Node. So this is like furthering us, right? Because for people, just a little backstory on the nodes, North Node is where you're going. It's like your higher destiny. It's not where you've been, which is your South Node. But of course, where you've been is useful, right? That's useful because you learned a lot. You learned a lot there.
You have a lot of experience, which equals wisdom when you take time to look at it again.
Right,
and then it gives you a chance to work things out. And Virgo says, well, if you're going to get healthier, you got to stop eating the toxic food.
Right. I know. Me and the chips.
Start eating the greens.
I mean, I know. Telling the captain, dude, we got to quit buying the chips. I'm sorry. We have a chip problem. I admit it. I need to go to Chips Anonymous. Anyway.
See, now that is a great, like, okay, Mars in retrograde in Cancer. Oh, but chips are my comfort food.
That's right. I know, it's my comfort food, and it's like,
I like the crinkly bag and the crunchy and this.
Right. We had our whole conversation about our emotional food. We could have a whole thing about that.
Oh yeah,
but I know, right? Because Cancer very much is, Mars in Cancer is really going to have you look at what your comfort things are, right? Whether especially if it is food and emotional.
But what the South Node would help you in Virgo would say, well, I know you like chips, and I understand that it helps you feel good, but let's do some like kale chips.
No.
Let's do some like unprocessed real food over here, and we'll just make it like bake it in an oven so it's crunchy.
Well, that's the thing too, is I'm not a fan of kale, I admit it, but I've made sweet potato chips that were baked, and they weren't fried, and they were very good. So yes, this is a good example. Real food. Also, it's real food that when you make it, there's a thing too that's satisfying, because you guys know I'm a cook and I like to bake. And when
you know what Irma does with all the food, she's cooking in the kitchen. She's putting Reiki and love and all her magician. You can love up that, and then all of a sudden it's ambrosia.
That's right. Be a kitchen witch, y'all. Yeah, bring all your love to whatever you're, and also not just food, right? Whatever you're creating, whether it's a post on social media, whether you're writing somebody a letter. I think this whole Pisces energy, I really like going old school. I've always loved to send people cards. And, I like people, my handwriting is pretty, but people are like, it's pretty. What does it say? But anyway,
there's a lot of love in there. It's real. It's
that's a good time to do that. I think, to do things from the heart, right?
Yeah.
Creativity.
And thinking of others, right? Yes. And Pisces, it can be very simple, like send a postcard, or I thought of you, and here's like a Starbucks gift card, have a coffee on me, or whatever. I mean,
I want to do a plug that they're not paying me to do. Tiny and Snail is a company. The woman that started it was injured very seriously in an industrial accident, and she's a great artist, and they make beautiful, she's actually paralyzed. And it's really sad, but they make beautiful cards. She makes the cards. So Tiny and Snail, they're on Instagram. Everybody, if you want to send a card, I love to support this business. It's a woman-owned business. She does have disability. She's not letting it stop her. They're awesome human beings. So go over there and check them out. If you get cards from me that have pretty art on them, they're probably one of those. So I wanted to.
You just checked every Pisces box.
Yeah, I did.
I did.
Really? I know. I went. Yeah, I guess I did.
Caring for other people.
Yeah, and it's art, and Pisces loves creativity and art, so we've got the art there. So yeah, check them out. But I will wrap it up, because me, I could talk to her all day.
I know, me too.
I want to do a couple housekeeping items. Shannon can be found at lunarladies.com on the internet. If you are on Facebook or Instagram, check her out for Lunar Ladies on social media over there. Okay, so that she does amazing readings. She's how she is. You're watching her on, I don't have to plug her, just watch the video. You know how incredible this woman is. So what's going on with me is I've got all kinds of stuff going on as usual. Again, we have our monthly events. The next one's on February 11th. We meet every month. I'm at irmak.com. You can also find me at Starseer on social media. And at Facebook, it's at Bright Star. This is going to be at my YouTube channel. I really encourage everybody to follow both of our YouTube channels. That's one area that, we both have been busy and we haven't put a lot of energy into building that. I'm going to really be doing more with YouTube. So please share this video. If you know anybody of like mind that would enjoy this material, please do share this video. Okay. And, thank you everybody for being with us today. Thank you, my dear friend. Always wonderful.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Still giggling. I'll be laughing about this sweater all day. So good. And we're going to get through this. We have a lot of beautiful astrology. Remember, take every day to what did my teacher say? Remember your vertical connection. Take time every day to tune in. If you're feeling overwhelmed, right? Ground and center, rinse and repeat, right?
After you find your center, go find a big rock.
Yeah, and the big rock, that's awesome. I love that. That's another thing. People, just really quick, people ask me this a lot. I get a lot of messages on this, like, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I call it the swirl. Like, you get pulled into the swirl. It's a swirl, right? It's a swirl. And so it's okay to take yourself out of the swirl for as long as you need to. Again, this is a time, nobody gets to tell other people how they relate to the swirl. Some people are in it and they've got their swords out and they're like, I'm ready to go. And they're in there just like, they're whipping it up. They're like, I love blenders. This is great. So there's those
are like the Tai Chi masters that can do that.
There are people with a lot of air. I don't know, people that are very detached, like they're just kind of doing their own journey with this. But if you're a sensitive, empathic person, it's been really hard. The grief has been up. There's been a lot of shock. There's been a lot of trauma. Again, our hearts go out to everybody that's still recovering from the hurricanes from last fall, people that are recovering in Los Angeles from the fires. Please seek out, if you've got a couple of nickels that you can donate to these causes, please look at vetted causes. Make sure they're highly vetted. Don't just give your dollars to anybody. We know there's grifters out there. But there's a lot of good causes that are out there. People follow me. Again, I have some of this on my Facebook, and I've shared some of this at my Substack also. So that's another note. Just please keep these people. Again, we're doing North Node and Pisces, right? We're going to hold them in our heart. We're going to help them in their healing and their recovery.
Right.
But
if you don't have the money to send, you could always pray.
Send love. Yeah. If you don't have money, that's a beautiful thing. I hold them in prayer and meditation and light work every single day. And that's something that costs only a little bit of your time. Doesn't cost any dollars to do that. Good point. Thank you. So what else? I'm just trying to think. There's that. Oh, and just, go hug a tree, go put your feet on the ground. I know it's winter and that's harder for people that live in very cold places, but you can do it through visualization. There are some good, videos out there, even on YouTube. You could just look up grounding and centering. There's a lot of good material out there, right?
And you can also throw some bird seed out, because that helps, or put a bowl of water or something if it doesn't freeze. But the animals and birds could appreciate your help.
That's beautiful. Thank you for that. Well, thank you, everybody. And we'll see you again. We'll definitely be meeting again up in the summer. Yeah.
Summer when the fire is hot.
In the fire element.
Fire element is on. Yes.
And if people are interested in the soul medicine, those are on Zoom. They're every month. They're usually during the week. They're at 5 Pacific. We go about an hour and a half. I try to make that in a time zone where it's not too late on the Eastern, but then it's late enough if people are, coming home from work. Hopefully that time. If it doesn't work, they're always recorded for replay. Okay. So another thing too, please go to irmak.com and get on the mailing list. We know that the algos have issues. People a lot of times don't see my posts. One way to make sure that you get information from both Shannon and myself is to join the mailing list, okay? And go to the website. That is the best way to do it now. Thanks, everybody. Okay, namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you so much.